Hi there. Welcome to The PrevenTable, the podcast giving you a seat at the table with conversations about the intersection of alcohol, drugs, and mental health in everyday lives. Take a seat and join us.
Welcome to The PrevenTable. With me today is an esteemed guest who's been on once before, and we extended the invitation. You've been on twice before?
I've been on twice. Once with you, Nicole, and once with
Jenny Armbruster.
Jenny Armbruster.
Yes.
Yes.
So I feel like we should have had a certificate for you.
3 times.
Oh my gosh. Okay, with me today is Jim Murphy. Third time. You're our first third-timer club. Okay.
Lucky me.
All right, your certificate's in the mail.
Thank you.
Jim Murphy, former board president and board member for Prevent+Ed when it was still called the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, and founder of RecoveryFest STL. That's what we're talking about today.
That's it.
All right, so last year, let's go back last year, okay? You had this really cool idea to throw a concert, day in the park, celebrate recovery. And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought you were a little nuts. And we're like, okay, Jim, maybe like 3 people are going to come. And I remember standing at the event, looking at Peg Weathers going, wow, this is way bigger and better than I thought it was going to be. And she said, same. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank
How do you like proving everybody wrong?
Well, on top of you and Peg,
Yeah.
I proved myself wrong because, of course, that morning as I'm sitting there looking at 20 empty tents and...
if you build it, they will come. Not always, right?
They did this time.
They did.
And it was awesome. It was such a wonderful event. The St. Louis recovery community came together. It was magic.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was so many of us had not been together during COVID. You know, we had lived on Zoom for a while, and then we had outdoor meetings outside, and the St. Louis recovery people are connected people and want to be together. And RecoveryFest last year went way beyond my wildest dreams. It was great.
So as a person not in recovery, what I was struck by was kind of what we see and say over and over again with Sands Bar. Like, if you were just walking in the park that day, if you didn't see the signs, you would have thought it was just like a super cool festival.
It was a super cool festival.
But what I mean is, like, you wouldn't have thought that there's a bunch of people in long-term recovery here.
Right.
It was just like a really cool family-friendly festival with vendors and food and music that just so happened to be celebrating and uplifting people in recovery.
That's exactly it.
I mean, did you think that that's what it was going to be?
Yes.
Was your
vision.
vision.
That's what it was supposed to be.
So take me back to the initial, like, why... I know what you wanted in your brain. I don't want to say to replicate, but I know what you wanted to sort of do a 2.0 version of. Talk to me about that used to exist and how you wanted this to be similar and or different.
Well, the model that I followed for it was a dear friend of mine had done something similar to this down in Forsyth County, Georgia. Okay. And they had Recovery Rocks, which was a smaller version of what we ended up doing. And it was a successful event. They had several hundred people there and a much smaller community, much smaller recovery community, if you will. And my vision is that we in the recovery community need connection. We need to be around each other. We need to see each other. Zoom was a great tool when COVID hit and when we were all on lockdown. But the reality is that there were lots of people suffering as a result of not being in front of each other and not being connected. Because to me, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.
Correct. We've said that several times on here. Yep.
That's my mantra. In fact, the motto for the event, for RecoveryFest, is fun, music, and connection. And what I saw is as I started to talk to several of our sponsors, without whom we couldn't have pulled this off because it is, as you mentioned, it's a nice day in the park, but it's a free event.
Right.
And our stakeholders pay for this so that everyone can come and enjoy this. We had 3 phenomenal bands last year. We had Galaxy Red, we had Jake's Leg, and then the Peter Mayer Band, which they killed it. It was great. But what got me more than anything was walking around that event that day and seeing hugs and tears and, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever, and renewing relationships that had been interrupted because of COVID.
Has there been a concert or some sort of like recovery gathering here locally in the past?
There's events such as Fall Classic and Spring Fling and those types of things, but those are much more focused towards meetings and speakers and that type of thing. To my knowledge, no. But what's been interesting is in the last year, it seems to be that recovery concerts and festivals are happening all over the country. And it's not like we started it, but all of a sudden,
it's the movement.
Well, exactly. And when you buy a red car, all you see are red cars.
That's true.
And
that's true.
Everything that I see now popping up on YouTube and on all of the social media is our events all over the country. In fact, there's an event that I just saw yesterday that's taking place in Bethalto the day before ours. So that was an interesting deal.
Okay.
And so we'll be talking about trying to co-brand some of those things as well.
I was going to say, so we're burying the lead here, but you're doing it again.
We're doing it again.
Okay.
Sunday, September 24th, Kirkwood Park, noon to 6, RecoveryFest 2.0.
2.0.
Couldn't be more excited.
Such a nerd.
Yeah.
I love it. So you mentioned the bands that you have last year. Who are you having this year? What bands?
We've got the return of Galaxy Red.
They were great.
They were awesome.
They were really great.
They just got us off to a hot start. It was wonderful. We have the Funky Butt Brass Band.
Woo!
With Emily Wallace.
Okay.
It should be a wonderful, anybody who's seen Funky Butt loves them.
Yeah, they're
great.
so fun. Funky.
And then,
they're fun and funky.
They are fun and funky. And Jake's Leg is going to be our closeout band, hardly closeout, but they're the third band, and Dave Casper and his crew have just been awesome.
People love Jake's Leg.
How could you not? I've only been listening to him for about 30 years. So
it's not my type of music.
You're not going to say that, Nicole. You're not going to go there.
What I'm going to say is that like the jam band thing is not really usually my speed. However, every time I see Jake's Leg, I'm like, okay, I think I could maybe get into this. And the people who love them, love them. And it was funny. I was having a conversation with a couple of people who were listening, while they were playing. They were like, yeah, never thought I'd be listening to them sober. And it's like,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? Like, yes, because typically you think of, and I don't know if they would classify themselves as a jam band. That's my box I'm putting them in. But you think of a band like that, and you're not necessarily thinking that they'd be, one of the headliners at a recovery fest.
Exactly. And there's a recovery thread through all of these all these bands. So it's just a wonderful thing.
And you had food for purchase last year.
We have food for purchase. The event's free.
Yep.
There's no charge to come and attend and enjoy and hang out and
But if you want food, you got to buy that, which is fine. Totally get it.
We had 4 food trucks, or three that made it. We had the Coffee and Culture Company, which was awesome.
They catered. Do you know? Okay, can we stop here for a second?
It.
First of all, their coffee is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Their cookies are fabulous, and we actually had them come out and provide some snacks for our event when we did a recovery-friendly workplace event.
Excellent.
Just to kind of do a through tie, and as much as we want to purchase from minority and women businesses, we also really focus on businesses run by people in recovery, and their coffee's good.
And Robert's a great friend of the recovery community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, couldn't speak highly enough about it.
Absolutely. So are they coming back this year?
They are coming back this year.
Love it. Okay.
Then we have, and I'll pronounce it wrong, Tro Cajun Barbecue.
Uh-huh.
And
Treaux.
Treaux, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's Tro. Mm-hmm.
And then California Cuisine. And all 3 of them had one of the best days they've ever had.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was great.
So talk to me a little bit about, there were people there last year, I remember, who were new in recovery, who a friend or somebody had said, hey, come with me to this. It didn't feel like a meeting, though, or anything. Like, I don't want to give the false impression that it felt like that. It just was a safe space.
The word, when you were saying that, the word came, it's safe.
Yeah.
And it's an event where people get to see what it's like to be sober.
And that you're not just sitting in a church basement the whole time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that you can actually live a very full, fun life. You can go to concerts. You can do things with other people who are doing the same things that you're doing.
That's exactly it. Yep, that's exactly what it was.
You've got some resources there. Like, I know we'll have a table, but you've got some other organizations that are coming. And
yeah, just to go back, though, for 1 second.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention, one of the highlights of this was that the Kirkwood community has been incredible. Kirkwood Park has been great.
Is that because, like, that's where you are, or do you think
I
that's
live in
PEG,
Kirkwood,
or what do you
like? Well, I live in
just
Kirkwood.
in general. Okay.
Kirkwood's a great community.
Okay.
And
I mean, yes, it is. Yes.
Yes. But what they did was there were people who were not in recovery who were at this event who came up to me afterwards. And by meeting with you and your team and some of the other stakeholders and presenters who were there, they learned things about recovery and addiction that they didn't know. Mm-hmm. And it warmed my heart to see that, we got to the next crowd as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was there, I was humanning our booth, but then that was the same weekend as another pretty big festival. So I kind of had to leave and then go human the other table at the other event. And as I was walking out, I'll say it was like a family barbecue or something with all ages of people. And as I'm walking like down to my car, they're like, hey, what is that? And so I was able to tell them what it was. And they're like, oh, wow. And I go, y'all can go over there, because they were very curious. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, I don't think that's for us. And I was like, it could be. And I was able to use it as a talking point for their kids, and talk about prevention and talk about the importance of conversations and positive outlets and all of that. And it was like a less than 5 minute conversation, but they started tootling on over there. And because again, if you didn't know any better, you would be like, oh, I didn't think Green Tree was happening this week.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's not as big as Green Tree.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But it was big. I mean,
yeah.
I was shocked, Jim. I was
we pulled
very
it off,
surprised.
Nicole.
I
we
know.
Did it.
I know.
Did it.
But dude, when you first, I was like, okay, let's do it. And you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
I got to say that several of the, and I want to get into the stakeholders a little bit and the advertisers, because they're the ones that make it possible.
Correct.
And when I shared this vision with them, there were a couple of guys that said, out of the gate, yes, we're in. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that made it possible, because up until then, you're right. It was me going, okay, how am I going to pay for this?
Right, exactly. Because let's just be clear, like, you're not drawing down a salary to put this on. Like, you're not a paid event promoter. No. I mean, you're a guy who, quote unquote, retired, and this is one of the things that, one of your many hats that you're wearing.
Helps me get up in the morning.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Purpose.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Because, and again, seeing the looks on people's faces last year makes it all worthwhile. Mm-hmm. It was just beautiful. But I want to thank our stage sponsors, who are the ones who made this, really made it possible. Nick Tomperson, Alpine Capital Wealth.
We love them. They have our 401k. We love them. Or not our 401k, our endowment. We love them. They're great. Nick is great.
I know.
I just have to give plugs because we love working with them.
They're awesome. And Arco Constructors is a wonderful resource. BJC Behavioral Health, Harris House, Hilljack House, Kirkwood Electric, our local electric supplier, was a big supplier, or a big stakeholder as well as Santa Lake Recovery Center.
Okay. So you have business, you have treatment, you have...
And we're not done yet.
Right, exactly.
West County Club came up and sponsored a big area.
Can you talk about what that is for people who might not know?
Yeah, West County, there's several, quote, AA clubs. They're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's a meeting place where AA, Al-Anon, ACA meetings can meet.
And ACA is?
Adult Children of Alcoholics. If you've got alcoholism in your family, you're eligible for ACA. But West County Club is a big supporter. And then some of our smaller supporters, no less important supporters, are Gladys Mannion Realtors, King Septic Service, who paid for the porta potties.
Love
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Those are needed.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, I got to go back, but we love us some Stafford Mannion.
You got it.
He is just incredible and very philanthropic.
Stafford supplied the water. And on an absolutely beautiful day, we used all the water, and I'm so grateful that we had it. Learn to Live Recovery, which is a sober living location.
Matt was actually on the podcast.
Matt's a good friend
Matt's great, yes. They're growing again.
Got another house.
I know. Yeah. It's incredible.
It is. The Lindell Club, which
Love
is another AA club, if you will.
And that one's in the city,
That's
right?
in the city, 4522 Lindell Boulevard. Holy space as far as
I was
going to
say there's a lot of history.
In fact, I think I took you in there.
You sure
one
did.
time.
You took me on a tour.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Aviary.
Love it. Love it.
Rick Stein.
Shout out to Rick.
You got it. And then, of course, The Next Step.
Absolutely. They were on. So they recorded an episode 2 weeks ago, and because we're getting ready for their gala, your name actually came up because we talked about the scholarship in honor of your mom and all of that. But that episode should be out. Well, yeah, that episode will be out either before or after this one airs. I'm not really sure. I don't do that anymore, Jim. I don't schedule those things anymore.
I understand.
But they're such an incredible organization.
Darcy has done so much there. I mean, I was part of it when it first started with Ron and Janet, and it started with these two wonderful, loving people, Ron and Janet, and seeing that if we could get education into the lives of people in recovery, their lives could be different.
Yeah.
And what a difference they've made.
So at 1,000%, I think they're like one of those organizations that as soon as you find out about what they do, you're like,
how can I help?
How can I help?
Yeah.
Can we talk for 1 second about ARCO? I don't know if you feel this way. Maybe it's because I live in the city, but I don't think it is. Every time I get in my damn car, I see an ARCO sign. I mean, between Topgolf, between the City Foundry stuff, between what's going in right near Barquet. I mean, they're everywhere.
And if you get out of St. Louis, you see it similarly.
Yes.
Phenomenal organization, started right here in St. Louis. Just wonderful people.
And I think, I'm going to tread lightly so that I'm going to tread lightly, but I think you just read off a list of names of companies and organizations that are really putting their money where their mouth is because they support recovery. And clearly we know that substance use disorder impacts everyone, whether they choose to admit it or not. What's neat for me to see is that a company is willing to say, yeah, we believe in this so damn much that not only are we going to give you money, but you can mention us, in media. We're going to slap our logo on stuff. I mean, they are taking a stand to say, like, this is
matters.
important.
This matters.
This matters. We were having a conversation about the Recovery Friendly Workplace Initiative and how many larger companies are really starting to move in that direction. And yes, you could say that it's a business decision, right?
Well, it is a business decision.
It is.
There is an
it
ROI.
Also matters. And maybe it's just an ROI at first, but then when they can say, like, this matters and we are going to make it a priority for our company, if nothing else, to sponsor an event. But most of these companies that you've mentioned or these organizations do a hell of a lot more than sponsoring events. I mean, that's really...
It's who they are.
It's who they are. It's baked within the DNA. Did you mention all your sponsors? Did we leave anybody out?
Well, those are the sponsors, but I do want to say that we've also got some friends of RecoveryFest that and we've also got some anonymous sponsors who are just awesome, and I'm so grateful for the support that we get from them. But we've got a couple of organizations, including Prevent+Ed, who will be have a tent at the location. Heal, the Stop Heroin people. They're just wonderful
Love
people.
Patty and Ellis.
Crush,
Yes.
who is a Melody Quinn's organization. In fact, Prevent+Ed is a
It's one of our coalitions.
Yes, right. Sorry, Jenny.
It's okay.
Yeah.
She'll forgive you just this once.
But we'll also have representatives from Alcoholics Anonymous and Adult Children of Alcoholics who will be there to share. This is not an AA event. This is not an NAACA event. It is an event for the St. Louis recovery community. But Alcoholics Anonymous will have a tent and a table there. Information, absolutely information about what they're doing, as well as Adult Children of Alcoholics. And I'm so delighted that they're coming, because it really does get the, there's a responsibility statement when it comes to all of the anonymous programs that my hand needs to be there to reach out for the next struggling person. So just so grateful for everyone who's going to join us and participate. We've also got 2 additions this year.
Ooh, tell me more. Okay.
You know Mike Morrison.
I sure do.
Mike,
I've heard that name in forever.
I know. Well, Mike is...
Used to be with... Bridgeway.
Bridgeway.
And then they merged with Preferred.
Right.
Yes, okay.
Well, Mike is going to have a booth called The Art of Recovery.
Oh.
And people are submitting artwork to Mike, and he's curating it, and we will have some recovery art.
Can you buy it?
I'm not on premises.
Got it. Okay, that changes like the licensing or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure they will. And we love to support artists and other people that are doing things in recovery that bring value. And then Kathy Thomas's Hope Creates.
I was just gonna say, okay, I'm sensing Kathy Thomas. Okay, what's happening with her?
Well, Kathy has. I'm not 100% sure what they're going to do. She has got a program going now where she is working with children of people in recovery, building guitars and teaching guitar lessons and that type of thing. So it's a wonderful program to give kids another outlet, another source of
because we know
fun.
A positive outlet, a healthy alternative. That's one of the developmental assets. If we can build those, instill them young, and it also helps people cope. Right? So even if they've struggled with substance use disorder, using their music as an outlet or their art as an outlet, I mean, it's just, it's a tool in the toolbox, right?
Yes, exactly. And again,
That's
what
cool.
we want is, as I see this going forward, as it grows, more of the community resources represented there, because St. Louis is an incredible recovery town.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, in my career, I've traveled the whole country. I've frankly traveled internationally. And while everyone thinks wherever they found recovery is the best place for it because it's where their lives got changed and frankly saved, St. Louis is recognized as a hotbed of recovery in the United States.
And the Lindell Club is sort of this, we joked earlier about the fact that, it's holy ground, but there's a lot of history steeped in that.
It's the oldest AA club west of the Mississippi.
Cool.
Bill Wilson had been in there. There's a lot of history steeped in St. Louis recovery. And
not to brag, but we were founded by Marty Mann, who was the first female to participate in AA and, was in Al-Anon and all different kinds of things. And that history for us is just, I don't know, it feels like we're on the shoulders of giants, We are. Yeah. So there's a great, and we're just scratching the surface in terms of service providers. For sure.
So next year.
Okay. Lay it on me. What are we
doing?
There'll
be more.
Okay.
In fact,
we're already plotting for 3.0. What did you say?
I said 2.0.
2.0, 3.0.
We've got, it's fun. I hope we've got some opportunity to share some of the videos on here and a new website at RecoveryFest STL.com.
RecoveryFestSTL.com.
That's the website. And, Mike Martin Media created some incredible video pieces for us for promotion on this. September 24th, be in Kirkwood Park from 12 to 6. It'll be a great day.
Be there or be square, huh?
There you go. Be there, be square, be whoever you are, but please be there.
Be there. And again, I will just reiterate that it is a fun time, no matter if you're in recovery or not. I mean, if you are free that day, stop by, because it's going to be a afternoon of food and music and connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Jim Murphy, thank you for being here the third time.
Thank you, Nicole.
Next time, I promise you'll get a certificate or something. And thank you for being here. And as always, thank you to Hubbard for giving us the space and allowing us to do this. It means so much. If you liked what you heard today, please consider rating, reviewing, or subscribing. That way you don't have to, check your socials and see when a new episode drops. It just comes right to you. And that means a lot to us. So thank you very much for listening. Thanks for being here, Jim.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks for joining us at The PrevenTable, brought to you ad-free by Prevent+Ed. Prevent+Ed works to reduce or prevent the harms of alcohol and other drug use through education, intervention, and advocacy. Please visit their website at PreventEd.org. Like what you heard? Rate, review, and subscribe to stay up to date with what we are serving on The PrevenTable.